Congratulations, students. Now you're studying Book 6. We're very happy, so don't miss the boat. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 1. Verbs: to comprise, comprised. To threaten, threatened. Words to comprise. The apartment comprises 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and a living room. New York City comprises Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Staten Island. Women comprise a high proportion of part-time workers. Words to threaten. Every time they argue, John threatens to leave. My boss threatened to fire me if I didn't do what he wanted. The hijacker threatened to kill some of the passengers. Usage. What areas does your city comprise? What percentage of the population of your country do the elderly comprise? Have you ever been threatened? Have you ever threatened? Grammar. Will have been. On Sunday, we will have been living in this apartment for 5 years. Next month, I will have been working in this company for 10 years. Street talk. Come to terms with something, come to the point, come round. His wife died last year, and he still can come to terms with it. Although he's a good speaker, it takes him a long time to come to the point. When he came around after the operation, he didn't have the slightest idea of where he was. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 2. Verbs: to bully, bullied. To deter, deterred. Words to bully. The seniors always bully the freshmen. The principal wants to make students stop bullying. John doesn't want to live here because the kids of the neighborhood bully him. Words to deter. The authorities are trying to deter kids from drugs. The police are trying to deter thieves from stealing. Business people deterred employees from using sex websites during working hours. Usage. Were you bullied when you were at school? Why do boys bully when they're teenagers? What are authorities doing to deter crime? Do you think it's possible to deter people from accessing sex websites? Grammar. Verb plus to verb. Agree, ask, decline, fail, hope, hurry, offer, want. I agree to go there with him. Verb plus verb, ing. Admit, consider, delay, feel like, finish, imagine, miss, suggest. I finished doing my homework. Street talk. A couch potato, a wet blanket, a fair weather friend. He sits all day long in front of the TV. He's a real couch potato. If he goes, everything will go wrong. He's a wet blanket. When I had nothing, he didn't even talk to me. Now that I'm rich, he calls me every day. He's a fair weather friend. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 3. Verbs: to overthrow, overthrew, overthrown. To budget. Words to overthrow. The dictator was overthrown by the rebels. The opposition made plans to overthrow the government. The government has never been overthrown in some countries. Words to budget. There will be a meeting in order to budget the expenses for next year. MBA students will learn how to budget. She has learned how to budget her time carefully. Usage. Has the government of your country ever been overthrown? Are there meetings where you work to budget expenses? Where and when was a leader overthrown recently? Do you know how to budget your time? Grammar. Verb plus to, verb plus verb with ing. Begin, cease, start, continue. It was raining, but he continued to play. It was raining, but he continued playing. Free talk. Do something up, do wonders for. They did up the house and then sold it for a much better price. Moving to the city has done wonders for my social life. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 4. Verbs: to enlist, enlisted. To struggle, struggled. Words to enlist. Men have to enlist at the age of 18. Thousands of men enlisted voluntarily during the war. Some men don't feel like enlisting, so they won't have to go to the army. Words to struggle. Some people struggle to bring up their families with minimum wages. The young artist struggled for recognition. If you want to succeed, you have to struggle. Usage. Did you enlist in the army when you were 18? Do you know anyone who enlisted in the army even though he didn't want to? Do you know anyone who struggled to succeed in life? Do we have to struggle in this country? Grammar. Concerning, regarding. They are anxious to hear any information concerning the accident. Regarding your last doubt. Street talk. A storm in a teacup. Under the weather. Hey, don't worry about it. You're making a storm in a teacup. You look a little under the weather. What's the matter with you? Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 5. Verbs. To resort, resorted. To provide, provided. Words to resort. When Kenny noticed they wouldn't do what he wanted, he resorted to threats. Jennifer resorted to cheating when she noticed the test was difficult. The employees couldn't resort to the boss for a raise because he had traveled. Words to provide. The hotel provides shoe cleaning service for its guests. The mayor has a project to provide young people with jobs. I'll provide the food if you bring the wine. Usage. Have you ever resorted to anything unfair to get something? Do you know anyone who did that? Does your job provide you with anything you need? Does your government provide the population with everything they need? Grammar. According to, in conformity with. According to the manager, sales have dropped lately. We must work in conformity with the new law. Street talk. Catch someone's eyes. Never look a gift horse in the mouth. Run short of. We need some models in front of the disco so we catch people's eyes. She gave me a car, but it was full of problems. I couldn't complain. Never look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm running short of cash. Can you lend me some? Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 6. Verbs. To fancy, fancied. To resent, resented. Words to resent. She resents having to get my permission first. She strongly resented her sister's refusal to help. The guests resented having to pay for another day after checkout time. Words to fancy. Do you fancy a drink? I think that girl fancies you. Brazilian people really fancy soccer. Usage. What do you fancy? Do you fancy anybody? Do you resent doing anything? Do you know anyone who resents doing anything? Grammar. However, nevertheless, in spite of. Many people have used this kind of diet. However, we don't know if it is effective. What you said was true. It was nevertheless a little unkind. The government was happy about the results in spite of the protest. Street talk. On the dot. For the time being. Make my day. He left on the dot of 6. You can stay here for the time being. Some good news can make my day. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 7. Verbs. To lobby, lobbied. To hail, hailed. Words to lobby. The group is lobbying for a reduction in defense expenses. We've been lobbying the people in the government to support the new law. Some local representatives lobbied the mayor to cut expenses. Words to hail. The hotel receptionist will hail a cab for you. She put her head out of the car to hail the guys. If you want, you can hail the waiter. Usage. Are there many people lobbying the government? What was the latest news about someone who lobbied in the government you've heard? Do you hail a waiter when you go to a restaurant? Is it polite to hail? Grammar. Notwithstanding. Even though. Brazil agreed on a new trade with the United States, notwithstanding public opposition. Even though they love each other, they got divorced. Street talk. To be on the dole, to be self-employed, to end up. Bob was on the dole for a year before he got a job. He prefers to be self-employed than to work for a company. He'll end up in prison if he carries on like this. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 8. Verbs. To punish, punished. To investigate, investigated. Words to punish. In some countries, women are punished if they have an abortion. Vandalism will be severely punished. The professional soccer player was punished for misconduct. Words to investigate. The allegations were investigated. Henry was already being investigated. I heard something strange, so I went downstairs to investigate. Usage. Have you ever been punished? What is the punishment for corruption in your country? Have corrupt politicians been investigated? What are the results of these investigations? Grammar. Likewise, needless to say. I was a little tired, and my friends likewise. I was a little tired, and my friend likewise. Needless to say, I will pay for your expenses. Street talk. To take up, to nail someone down, to be overcast. I've taken up collecting stamps. Before he repairs the car, nail him down to a prize. The sky was overcast last night. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 9. Verbs. To glance, glanced. To blink, blinked. Words to glance. She glanced nervously at her watch. The boy glanced around to see if there was anyone that he knew at the party. The class was so boring that the students started glancing at their watches. Words to blink. The boy blinked as he came out in the sunlight. There was a light blinking in your dashboard. They started blinking when I turned on the light. Usage. Do you keep glancing at your watch when your class is boring? Is it possible not to blink when someone suddenly turns on the light? Do you know what it is when there is any light blinking in your car? Grammar. Have plus something plus verb past participle. I had my appendix removed when I was 6. I'll have my car washed tomorrow. They had their house painted last week. Street talk. To be in good shape, to own up, to work up. The guy is working out every day. He's in good shape. Unless the one who did this owns up, the whole class will be punished. I'm trying to work up some enthusiasm to visit my mother-in-law. I'm trying to work up some enthusiasm to visit my mother-in-law. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 10. Verbs. To diagnose, diagnosed. To unwind, unwound. Words to diagnose. Fortunately, the cancer was diagnosed in an early stage. The doctors couldn't diagnose what the problem was. A technician was called to diagnose the problem with the computers. Words to unwind. I love watching TV. It helps me unwind. I've been working hard and I haven't had time to unwind. He unwound just by reading a book. Usage. Have you ever had anything that couldn't be diagnosed? What did the doctor diagnose the last time you had an appointment? What makes you unwind? Have you had time to unwind? Grammar. There have been. There has been. There have been a lot of crimes lately. There has been some confusion about the new salary policy. Street talk. To work off. To splash out on. Sorry about my son's bad behavior. He's just trying to work off his frustration. I splashed out on CDs last week. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 11. Verbs. To doze, dozed. To prescribe, prescribed. Words to doze. Jimmy dozed himself with an aspirin and went to bed. I usually doze myself with an aspirin when I have a headache. The vet dosed the dog to see if it would get a little less violent. Words to prescribe. The doctor prescribed me some medicine, but I haven't felt better. If these medicines don't work, I will have to prescribe you something stronger. I can't take what the doctor prescribed me because I lost the prescription. Usage. Do you ever dose yourself with any medicine? Do you think it's a good idea to dose yourself? What was the last thing a doctor prescribed you? Can you buy medicine without a prescription? Grammar. There had been. There had been unsatisfaction when the mayor took office. Street talk. A threatened species. To die out. To wipe out. Members of Greenpeace are worried about the threatened species. If we don't care about ecology, some animals will just die out. Man is wiping out some species. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 12. Verbs. To beat, beaten. To defeat, defeated. Words to beat. Brazil was beaten by France in 1998. I could never beat my brother at chess. Brazil had never been beaten by Ecuador in soccer. Words to defeat. After a long battle, the army was able to defeat the opponent's troops. The Los Angeles Lakers defeated the New York Knicks by only 4 points. This is the best part of his career. He hasn't been defeated for 2 years. Usage. When was Brazil beaten in a World Cup final game for the first time? Do you think a computer can beat a man in a chess match? Is it easy to admit defeat? Have you ever been easily defeated in a sports game? Grammar. Tell somebody something. She told me a story. Tell somebody that sentence. The boy told me that he was tired. Street talk. To opt out of. Shoulder. You can't just opt out of the responsibility. I had to stop the car in the shoulder and change a tire. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 13. Verbs. To train, trained. Coach, coached. Words to train. Dogs are trained to detect drugs. Jack spends 2 hours a day training for the marathon. It takes several years to train a doctor. Words to coach. Greg is coaching the university team this year. Mr. Holmes coaches a soccer team in his free time. Usage. What are dogs trained for? Do you ever train any sports? Who is coaching the national soccer team? Are the people satisfied with him? Grammar. Say that sentence. She said that she would be a little late for class. Street talk. To be sorry for. I'll be right back. To show somebody out. Poor boy, I'm really sorry for him. He has no place to live. Wait here for me. I'll be right back. Thank you, Mr. Bond. Bye-bye. My secretary will show you out. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 14. Verbs. To sponsor, sponsored. To isolate, isolated. Words to sponsor. The team is looking for a man or company to sponsor it. The bank is sponsoring a project for teachers' development at school. I sponsored $100 a month to help the local children's team. Words to isolate. The U.S. has tried to isolate Cuba, both politically and economically. It is impossible to isolate political responsibility from moral responsibility. Depressed people isolate themselves from other people. Usage. Do you think that there is too much money being spent to sponsor sports? What companies sponsor the best athletes of the world? Have you ever tried to isolate yourself? Why? Why have the United States tried to isolate Cuba? Grammar. Say to somebody that sentence. I said to Bob that he had to study hard. Street talk. No, thanks. I'm full. It's okay with me. Regards. Give my best. Would you like another hamburger? No, thanks. I'm full. Is it all right if we put some gas before we get there? It's okay with me. I'm going to meet Jim now. Really? Give my best. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 15. Verbs. To poach, poached. To hunt, hunted. Words to poach. It has been hard to stop poachers from poaching in Africa. Elephants have been poached for a long time. They have been poached for ivory. Words to hunt. At the beginning of times, men had to hunt in order to survive. Tourists used to go to Kenya to see hunting of big game. Police are hunting the killer. Usage. Why do people poach? Do you think it's possible to stop people from poaching? Is hunting legal in your country? What animals can't be hunted? S. Possession. Persons, peoples. Caroline's illness is not so serious. The children's coats are in the car. Times. Next year's conference will be in Italy. Last night's TV show was awful. Street talk. My sympathy. By no means. It's no use. I've heard your grandfather died. My sympathy. Why don't we have some squid for lunch? By no means. I hate squid. It's no use talking to her. She doesn't want to listen. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 16. Verbs. To ban, banned. To slaughter, slaughtered. Words to ban. Smoking is banned in some places. Rick was banned from driving for a year. Rick was banned from driving for a year. The government wants to ban smoking advertisements. Words to slaughter. Animals are slaughtered in slaughterhouses. Some people don't eat meat because they don't like the way animals are slaughtered. Hundreds of people were slaughtered during the riot. Usage. Where is smoking banned? Have you ever been banned from anything? Have you ever seen animals being slaughtered? How are animals slaughtered? Grammar. Of. Possession. Of. The. Inanimate noun. The cover of the book is beautiful. He is in charge of the construction of the office building. Street talk. Don't let it slip away. Nothing risked, nothing gained. It's the opportunity you've been waiting for all your life. Don't let it slip away. Why didn't you listen to me? You should have tried to date her. Now she has a new boyfriend. Nothing risked, nothing gained. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 17. Verbs. To club, clubbed. To breed, bred. Words to club. The police clubbed soccer fans who started a riot. The murderer kills by clubbing the victim. The man couldn't describe to the police what had happened because he had been clubbed by the thief. Words to breed. Birds breed during the warmer months of the year. Wild animals rarely breed when they are not in the wild. I bought a puppy bred in the finest kennels in London. Usage. When is it necessary for the police to club? What happens if you were clubbed on the head? Why do wild animals rarely breed outside the wild? Why is it so important to breed horses, cows, bulls, etc.? Grammar. In order to, so as to. He's taking an English course in order to get a better job. Trees and plants are being planted by the roadside so as to reduce traffic noise. Street talk. On second thought, let's flip a coin. That's life. At the beginning, I thought it was a good idea, but on second thought, I don't think you should do it. If we can't decide on who is going to run errands this morning, let's flip a coin. I just can't understand why things happen this way. That's life, my friend. I just can't understand why things happen this way. That's life, my friend. I just can't understand why things happen this way. That's life, my friend. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 18. Verbs. To tolerate, tolerated. To litter, littered. Words to tolerate. We will not tolerate this kind of behavior. I don't have to tolerate my boss telling me off all the time. Why does she tolerate her husband treating her like that? Words to litter. Hey man, don't litter. I don't understand why people litter. There are countries in Europe where if you litter, you may be fined. Usage. What is something you can't tolerate? Why is it difficult for the society to tolerate unusual things? Do people litter? Why? How can teach people not to litter? Grammar. In order not to, so as not to. I was very careful with the knife in order not to cut myself. He stopped ironing so as not to burn himself. Street talk. What's going on in here? It was all for nothing. What is all this noise? What's going on in here? After all the hard work and all this effort, we didn't get the result we wanted. It was all for nothing. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 19. Verbs. To patronize, patronized. To suppress, suppressed. Words to patronize. Don't patronize me. I'm not a fool. Your problem is that you keep patronizing the kids, but you're not stupid. I don't think you should talk to me like that. You are patronizing me. Words to suppress. The army suppressed the uprising. The government declared that any attempt or revolt would be suppressed. The Pentagon was able to suppress the information from getting in wrong hands. Usage. Do you ever patronize? What do you do when somebody patronizes you? When was the last time that the police suppressed a riot? Grammar. At, point. At, event with a group of people. I arrived at Victoria Station at 7:30. We first met at a conference in the United States. Street talk. It's not worth it. It's not worthwhile. The watch is slow. The watch is fast. To have a heart condition. Do you think it's worth it buying a new car? If you can afford the installments, yes, it is worthwhile. It's 7 o'clock now. Your watch says 7:10. It's fast. He can go through strong emotions. He has a heart condition. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 20. Verbs. To tease, teased. To mumble, mumbled. Words to tease. Kids often tease each other. Don't get angry. I was only teasing. She teased me. That's why I kissed her. Words to mumble. The little boy mumbled that he wanted to go to the restroom. Could you please speak up? You're mumbling. He always mumbles when he's embarrassed. Usage. What do you do when your friends tease you about something? What do you do when a woman, man, teases you? Do you mumble when you are embarrassed? Are you patient when someone mumbles and you can't understand? Grammar. On, flat surface. On, street, avenue, or road. There's a spider on the ceiling. There is a new McDonald's on St. Louis Street. Street talk. To have a document notarized? Shame on you. The contract has no value if we don't have it notarized. How can an adult like you argue with such a little kid? Shame on you. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 21. Verbs. To support, supported. To approve, approved of. Words to support. The bill was supported by some of the senators. Most of the poor people supported Castro during the revolution. Formula One drivers need sponsors with a lot of money to support them. Words to approve. The Senate approved a plan for local sports programs. Her parents approve of her marriage now. John's father finally approved of his decision of not becoming a doctor. Usage. Do your friends support you when you need it? Who is supporting who for the next elections? Do you need your boss to approve of your decisions? Have your parents ever disapproved of any decision you made? Grammar. In. Large area, large space. She has lived in California for years. Street talk. To cut in line. That's not fair. Who cares? The people were fighting in the bank because a man tried to cut in line. Oh, come on, Dad. Why can my brother watch TV till late at night and I have to go to bed early? That's not fair. This service is really bad, but who cares? Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 22. Verbs. To distrust, distrusted. To mistreat, mistrusted. Words to distrust. People in this country distrust the police. Dylan distrusts journalists. That's why it's difficult to interview him. Of course she distrusts him since he's always giving excuses. Words to mistrust. Some people mistrust computerized banking. As a very small child, she learned to mistrust adults. He mistrusted the defendant's lawyer. Usage. Do you distrust anyone? Is the police distrusted? Why? Do some people mistrust internet shopping? Why do some people mistrust lawyers? Grammar. Across, along. She knew she would be safe when she went across the border. I saw my ex-girlfriend jogging along the seashore. Street talk. Holy cow. Damn. Holy cow, look at that car. It's going too fast. It's going to crash. Damn. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 23. Verbs. To disgrace, disgraced. To disgust, disgusted. Words to disgrace. How could you disgrace our family like that? In some countries, people are publicly disgraced in order to be punished. He's not a good professional. He disgraces our category. Words to disgust. The old lady said she was disgusted by the sex in the film. I was disgusted to see the pictures of the accident. The thought of dissecting an animal disgusts me. Usage. Have you ever disgraced anyone? Were people disgraced in public in some countries? What disgusts you? What usually disgusts people? Grammar. Over, through, three-dimensional space. He hurt his leg when he jumped over the wall. The man enjoyed walking through the forest. Street talk. As a down payment, at wholesale, at retail. It's a good deal. You can pay $3,000 as a down payment and pay installments. This is cheaper at wholesale. I bought it at retail. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 24. Verbs. To stammer, stammered. To stutter, stuttered. Words to stammer. Whenever he was nervous, he would begin to stammer slightly. Kevin's friend made fun of him because he stammers. People who stammer could be cured through hypnotherapy. Words to stutter. I'm Kevin, he stuttered. He never talks in public because he stutters. That washing machine has stuttered lately. I better have it fixed. Usage. Do you ever stammer? Why do we sometimes stammer? Do you know anyone who stutters? Do you have any machine that has stuttered? What did you do about it? Grammar. During, to describe two actions at the same time. Throughout, during all the period. The president gave a speech during his visit to Spain. We had enough firewood to keep us warm throughout the winter. Street talk. To make believe, to make a living, to make a scene. I know it's not true, but let's make believe we're married. It's hard to make a living with just a minimum wage. She made a scene because of a $1 difference in the bill. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 25. Verbs. To handle, handled. To harm, Harmed. Words to handle. She couldn't handle the pressure of her new position in the company. My boss is great. He handled the revolted employees just by talking to them. The hotel manager is very good at handling difficult guests. Words to harm. Too much water will harm the plant. Walking around with you might harm my reputation. The animals look fussy, but they would never harm anyone. Usage. Do you think the president has been able to handle the current situation of the country? Is your boss able to handle difficult situations? Why do some people think privatization harms the economy? How can atomic waste harm people? Grammar. At, time, holidays, meals. In, seasons, months, years, decades. On, date, dates. I ate a lot at breakfast. Brazil was the best soccer team in the 90s. It's her birthday on the 22nd. Street talk. To do it over again, that would do. Take effect. This is not exactly the way the boss wants. I think you have to do it over again. Is this amount of money enough? That would do. The morphine took effect and the pain eased a little. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 26. Verbs. To itch, itched. To scratch, scratched. Words to itch. Don't touch this powder. It itches. My feet were itching terribly after walking barefoot on the beach. The label on this shirt itches me. Words to scratch. Don't mess with this cat or it might scratch you. Try not to scratch those mosquito bites. I scratched my arm on the branch of the tree. Usage. Are there any plants that itch? Does any substance make you itch? Have you ever been scratched by an animal? Has your car ever been scratched? Grammar. Except for, besides. The price includes all meals except for lunch. Besides soccer, I enjoy volleyball and basketball. Street talk. Take your time. I got you. To get a cramp. You have enough time to eat. The bus leaves in an hour and a half, so take your time. I understand your explanation. I got you. I got a cramp after the game because I hadn't stretched. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 27. Verbs. Step, stepped. Stomp, stomped. Words to step. Step back, the paint is still wet. I stepped in a puddle and got my shoes wet. The police is looking for volunteers to step forward and help. Words to stomp. To stomp means to walk with heavy steps because you're angry. My mother stomped angrily upstairs. The little girl stomped when her mother didn't allow her to play. Usage. How do you feel when you step in a puddle? Have you ever stepped forward to anyone? Do you ever stomp? Did your parents used to stomp angrily when you were little? Grammar. Apart from, but for. Apart from soccer, I enjoy volleyball and basketball. He would be picked for the team, but for his broken leg. Street talk. Comprehensive. Fabric. Journal. There was a comprehensive inspection in the nuclear plant. These shirts are made of man-made fabric. Doctors usually read medical journals. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 28. Verbs. To thank, thanked. To appreciate, appreciated. Words to thank. Remember to thank your uncle for the help when you see him. Remember to thank your uncle for the help when you see him. The children ran to thank their parents for the presents. I must thank him for lending me his car. Words to appreciate. I appreciate his help when we moved. I would appreciate it if you turned the TV off. You did a lot for me, and I appreciate it. Usage. Have you ever done somebody a favor and not been thanked for it? When were you most thankful for something? What would you appreciate if I did? When did you last appreciate something? Grammar. Because, as, since. As it was getting late, I decided I should leave. Since you can't help us, we should ask someone else. Street talk. Particular, preservative, propaganda. He had never listened to that particular kind of music. I don't like to eat food with preservatives. Hitler used his propaganda to make the German people support him. Advanced English Course. Book 6, Lesson 29. Verbs. To migrate, migrated. To deport, deported. Words to migrate. Birds usually migrate looking for warmer regions. A lot of people migrate to the United States. Some people can't find a job after they migrate to the United States because they don't speak English. Words to deport. Some foreigners are deported because they don't have a green card. The members of the government were still deciding whether to deport the immigrants or not. Some foreigners were deported from Brazil in the 60s because they were teasing the people. Usage. Do you know anyone who migrated looking for a better job? Do you know anyone who has been deported? What are the reasons to deport someone? Are there many cases of people being deported? Grammar. Do so, did so, doing so. He won the competition last year and it seems possible to do so this year. Mr. Brown told her to sit down and she did so. Street talk. To procure, argument, to assist. He was able to procure us 2 invitations for the actors' party. I had a fierce argument with him. The clerk assisted me in the store. Advanced English Course. Book 6. Lesson 30. Verbs. To depreciate, depreciated. To deserve, deserved. Words to depreciate. A new car depreciates pretty fast. The house depreciated with the construction of the railway next to it. Although I had quite a hard time doing that, my boss depreciated it by saying it was no good. Words to deserve. You have been working since early in the morning. I think you deserve a rest. I think Brazil doesn't deserve to win the next World Cup. She struggled to get to that position. I think she deserves it. Usage. How fast does a brand new car depreciate? How do you feel and how do you react when someone depreciates your job? Who deserves to win the next election? Do you deserve better luck in your love life? Grammar. Hear about, News about someone or something. Hear of. Know about the existence of someone or something. Have you heard about Janet's accident? You must have heard of the gay parade in San Francisco. It's famous. Street talk. Beef, steak, novel. Vegetarians don't eat beef at all. I ordered some steaks for us. I loved the Agatha Christie novel I read. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 31. Verbs. Stroke, stroked. Stumble, stumbled. Words to stroke. She always strokes her dog. The children approached to stroke the cat. Henry stroked his girlfriend's cheek gently. Words to stumble. She stumbled and spilled the orange juice on the floor. Vinny stumbled over the step as he came in. I finished the beer and then stumbled upstairs to bed. Usage. Why do pets like to be stroked? Do you like to stroke pets? When did you last stumble? Have you ever stumbled because you were drunk? Grammar. Hear from. Receive some communication, a letter, phone call from somebody. I've heard from Paul recently. He told me he's going to university. Street talk. Stupid, sympathetic. I don't believe he didn't know he had to click twice on the icon. He's so stupid. Try to understand her problem. I think you should be a little more sympathetic. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 32. Verbs. To divert, diverted. To weep, wept. Words to divert. The police diverted the traffic because of the accident. The company should divert more resources into research. The government should divert more resources into education. Words to weep. Tom broke down and wept. She started to weep bitterly because of the bad news. People wept because of the leader's death. Usage. How often is traffic diverted in your city? Does the government sometimes divert resources to other areas? When did the whole population last wept? When did the whole population last weep? How often do you weep? Grammar. Think of. Something that suddenly enters your mind. Think about. Something that you consider over a period of time. He thought of Cindy. Perhaps she would help. We have been thinking about Janet and her problems for a while. Street talk. Can't help. To have trouble. Quotation marks. Speech marks. I can't help making mistakes. I have trouble waking up early. We use quotation marks to show the beginning and the end of what somebody said. Advanced English Course, Book 6, Lesson 33. Verbs. Disclose, disclosed. Determine, determined. Words to disclose. The FBI agent won't disclose the secret. The Secret Service is unlikely to disclose any information. It has recently been disclosed that 30% of the donation was diverted to publicity. Words determined. The date of the hearing hasn't been determined yet. Your parents' income determines your level of financial aid. Be determined to leave at once. Usage. What was the last thing disclosed by the press? Why do governments around the world do their best not to disclose UFO information? What did the government last determine? What did your boss last determine? Grammar. Ask about. Get information. Ask for. Asking someone to give or to do something. The singer got angry when the reporters started asking about his private life. The customer asked for more beer. Street talk. Dirt road. Unpaved road. At last. To be in a bad mood. It's a long way on a dirt road to get to Jericoacoara. Thank God. They got here with the food at last. I'm so hungry. Don't talk to him today. He's in a bad mood. Advanced English Course. Book 6. Lesson 34. Verbs. To publish. Published. To mingle. Mingled. Words to publish. Her third novel was published in June. We try to publish all the letters we receive. The latest unemployment figures will be published next week. Words to mingle. The cast and crew mingled as everyone started to relax. That guy doesn't like to mingle with people he has never seen. He observed the hypocrites as they mingle with the good people we meet. No Woman, No Cry, Bob Marley. Usage. Why are William Shakespeare's books published every now and then? Have you ever had a letter published in a newspaper or magazine? Do you mingle easily with people you don't know? Why is it difficult for some people to mingle? Grammar. Shout to. The person is a long way from you. Shout at. You're angry with the person. My mother shouted to me across the street. Don't forget your raincoat. Don't shout at her. She's doing her best. Street talk. I didn't mean to hurt you. To be caught red-handed. I'm sorry if you got sad with what I said. I didn't mean to hurt you. The boy was caught red-handed, trying to steal the woman's purse. Advanced English Course. Book 6. Lesson 35. Verbs. To abolish. Abolished. To waste. Wasted. Words to abolish. Slavery was abolished in America in the 19th century. Slavery was abolished in 1888 in Brazil. People want to abolish monarchy in some countries. Words to waste. Some people waste money just because they're rich. Leaving the lights on all the time wastes electricity. Don't waste your money on that stupid magazine. Usage. Who was responsible for the law that abolished slavery in Brazil? How long ago was slavery abolished? Do you worry about not wasting money? Have you ever wasted money on something you didn't like? Grammar. Throw to, for somebody to catch. Throw at, in order to hit them. The player took the ball and threw it to the goalkeeper. The chimpanzee was sitting in the tree throwing bananas at passers-by. Street talk. Flush the toilet. Get off my back. You asked for it. Why does he always forget to flush the toilet? Stop teasing me. Get off my back. You kept teasing the dog and now it bit you. You asked for it. Advanced English Course. Book 6. Lesson 36. Verb. To persuade. Persuaded. To despise, despised. Words to persuade. I was finally able to persuade her to go out with me. We tried to persuade him, but he didn't agree to go with us. Then failed to persuade us that he was innocent. Words to despise. They fought so much that they despise each other now. Mr. Murphy disappointed his employees so many times that now they despise him. The manager despised the employee who couldn't live up to the expectations. Usage. When did you last persuade somebody? When did somebody last persuade you? Do you despise anybody? Does anybody despise you? Grammar. Have plus noun equals action. Have an argument, have a chat, have a dance, have a meal, have a quarrel, have something to eat, have a talk. I had an argument with my sister last night. Street talk. You don't say, "Are you serious?" to be on call. Have you heard of Janet and Ben? They're going out. You don't say, "Are you serious?" Murphy's on call until 3 in the morning. Advanced English Course. Book 6, Lesson 37. Verbs. To urge, urged. To blame, blamed. Words to urge. Brown urged her to reconsider her decision. I urge that you read this report carefully. The United Nations urged that the U.S. withdraw its troops from that area. Words to blame. Don't blame me for that defeat. Mom blamed herself for Brian's bad grades at school. It's no use blaming Dad for the lack of money. Usage. What did you last urge and why? When did somebody last urge you to do something? Does anyone blame you for anything bad that has happened? Grammar. Take plus noun. Take a message, take a deep breath, take a chance, take a decision, take responsibility, take a risk, take the trouble. The teacher took the trouble to learn our names in the first week. Street talk. Against all odds, to dice with death. Against all odds, the racing driver recovered from the accident. He speeds up with his motorcycle all the time. He's dicing with death. Advanced English Course. Book 6, Lesson 38. Verbs. To bless, blessed. To ruin, ruined. Words to bless. May God bless you and your family. The priest blessed my wedding ring. We are all blessed with good health. Words to ruin. The rain ruined our weekend. The lack of money ruined my plans. The businessman was ruined by the lawsuit. Usage. Do you know anyone who is blessed with any gift? Has the weather ruined your plans lately? When were you last ruined by anything? Grammar. Have plus noun. Take plus noun. Formal. A walk, a bath, a break, a drink, an exam, a test, a guess, a holiday, a look, a nap, a rest, a shower, a sip, a stroll, a swim. I'm going to have breakfast. I'm going to have a nap after lunch. I'm going to take a nap after lunch. Street talk. To kick off with, to jump for joy. I'm going to kick the meeting off with a few words. You don't have to jump for joy, but at least smile. Advanced English Course. Book 6, Lesson 39. Verbs. To trade, traded. To insure, insured. Words to trade. These companies trade mainly in furs and animal skins. The new product was traded all over the country. Over 1 million chips were traded during the day. Words to insure. Please ensure that the lights are off before leaving. The band's latest song ensured their success. The nurse ensured that the patient took all his pills. Usage. What does your country trade? Does your country profit much from trading? What ensures success for a person? When did somebody last insure you something? Grammar. Go, turn, or get was color changing. The traffic light turned red very fast. I had to stop the car suddenly. Street talk. To go halves on all fours, 9 times out of 10. Do you want to go halves on the pizza? The boxer was down on all fours after being knocked out. The boys are in trouble 9 times out of 10. Advanced English Course. Book 6, Lesson 40. Verbs. To prosecute, prosecuted. To restrict, restricted. Words to prosecute. Shoplifters will be prosecuted. Tom is being prosecuted for assault. We have to prosecute those who don't pay. Words to restrict. The new law restricts the sale of handguns. The cramped apartment restricted the children's opportunity to play. I'm restricting myself to 3 cigarettes a day. Usage. Do you know anybody who has been persecuted? What happens if you are persecuted? Why do some people restrict themselves to little food? Grammar. Turn. Age. Turn into something. He turned 50 last year. In my dream, all the frogs turned into princes. Street talk. To put 2 and 2 together, 10 to 1, 19 to the dozen. I didn't call to say I wasn't going, but she put 2 and 2 together when she saw it was raining. 10 to 1, it will rain tonight. He talked 19 to the dozen.